Let's look at the question type matching information. Here's what a matching information question looks like. So each paragraph of your essay will be labeled with usually a letter next to the left side of the paragraphs. And your job is to figure out in which paragraph this information can be found. So for number 1, you have a sentence here, and what you're supposed to do is go find in the essay where that information comes from. Now, these will be paraphrases below. These are not direct sentences from the passage. So what you're doing is you're matching the ideas. The idea is found somewhere in the passage, and you're supposed to label where. You can use any letter more than once most of the time on this. In other words, some answers may come from the same paragraph. So if answer to number 1 comes from paragraph A, the answer for number 2 could also come from paragraph A. Okay, let's talk about the question and just some strategy quickly, and then we'll practice answering a few of these. So, as we said before, your job will be to identify paragraphs that contain specific information. This is similar to the question type matching headings that you may have studied already, but matching headings questions are about main ideas. This type of question, matching information, is about details. You're supposed to find detailed information somewhere in the passage. Okay, so with the matching headings, you're trying to really figure out, okay, what's the main idea of each paragraph? And I'm going to match a heading or basically a title with that paragraph. These questions, you're going to have to scan for details within paragraphs. Answers will not come in order. So unfortunately, if you find an answer to number 3, then numbers 1 and 2 may not necessarily come before that answer in the passage. Okay, so you're going to have to scan the whole passage for each question. Answers will be letters, as we said before. So the paragraphs will be labeled with letters, and those will be your answer choices for this type of question. Sometimes you can use a letter more than once, as we said, so one paragraph may contain more than one answer choice. The answer for number 1 could come from paragraph A, and the answer choice for number 2 could also come from paragraph A. You just need to follow the directions. If you cannot use an answer choice more than once, they will tell you that. Okay, so here's how to approach this kind of question. As with all other types of reading questions, we just have to say it every time. Scanning is very important for this. So being able to look at the question and go back and scan the passage for the information you need is very important for this question. If you read the whole passage, if you have to go back through and really read a lot of the passage over again, you will lose a lot of time. So you just need to get really good at scanning for the type of information you need to find in this type of question. You need to be careful. For this type of question, some topics may be discussed in multiple paragraphs. In other words, if you're searching for somebody's name, that person's name may be in paragraph 2 and in paragraph 5, and you don't necessarily know where the answer is going to be unless you scan for it and really look at both places. Also, some paragraphs, as we've said already, may contain multiple answers. Some paragraphs then will not contain any answers. So don't think that each paragraph needs to connect with one of the answers. That's not true. There could be multiple answers in one paragraph or no answers in another paragraph. Now let's try some of these questions. So in a moment, I'll invite you to pause your video and go look for the answers to numbers 1 to 4. Remember, we're trying to find the paragraph that contains the details you see down below. Okay, pause your video and try questions 1 to 4. Okay, let's talk about the answers to these questions now, beginning with number 1. Number 1 says, we're looking for a device used to locate new planets using a series of images of the sky. All right, now that answer came from paragraph C. It says, he then placed the paired images into a machine called a blink comparator, which blinked rapidly between photos and created a time-lapse illusion of the movement of any planetary body. All right, the key information there, the paraphrasing we're seeing, is what you see in blue here. So we're looking for a device, and that is a direct paraphrase of the word machine that was used in the passage. Okay, this blink comparator is our machine or device we're looking for, and this device captured a series of images, and that's what we get here. It rapidly took photos and created a time lapse. A time lapse is a series of photos that show the passage of time and how something changes over time. Okay, so that's where we get this idea of a series of images being paraphrased here. Okay, so the correct answer for number 1, you should have found that in paragraph C. The next one was also from paragraph C. Okay, so the correct answer for number 2 is C as well. Number 2, a discovery was made that seemed to prove Lowell's hypothesis. Okay, we need to find a discovery that seemed to show that Lowell had a correct viewpoint, that had a correct theory about the planets in particular. Okay, so that came from paragraph C, and in particular, here's the information that we get to paraphrase that. All right, so there was a discovery, and there we get the same word used here, which is nice. Discovery, just a different form. Someone discovered, so there's your clue. Tom Baugh discovered a moving object. Okay, so that was the discovery that was made. And with that discovery, we find down below here, the object lay just 6 degrees from one of the 2 locations for planet X that Lowell had suggested. And it seemed as though, at long last, Lowell had been vindicated. Okay, to be vindicated means that you are shown to be correct. Okay, when people doubt you or don't believe you, and then you are vindicated, that means that you are shown that all along you were right, even though other people may have thought you were wrong. Okay, so this is another way of saying that Lowell's hypothesis, Lowell's theory about Planet X was proven to be correct. And that's what we got from question number 2. So there's your answer, paragraph C, and it's taken from this part that we see up above. Okay, number 3, here we need to look for a couple of things. A book, okay, and that book needs to talk about the size of a theoretical planet. A theoretical planet, a planet that is not necessarily known to exist, that maybe it exists just in theory, from calculations or from the theoretical work that an astronomer has done. Okay, well, that information is found in paragraph B. And here's where we get that information. Okay, so Lowell up here christened this hypothetical new planet X. Hypothetical. Okay, hypothetical in this case is a nice paraphrase of our idea down here. Theoretical. Okay, it's not known to exist. It's a theory. So Lowell christened this hypothetical new planet, Planet X, in his 1915 memoir on a trans-Neptunian planet. Concluded that Planet X must have a mass roughly 7 times that of Earth, about half that of Neptune. Okay, there we have it. A mass roughly 7 times that of Earth is our discussion of the size of a theoretical planet. So here we have this book. It's a memoir that discusses a hypothetical planet and discusses its size, that it's about half the size of Neptune or 7 times the mass of planet Earth. Okay, there we have that discussion. So we get it in paragraph B. All right, now the last question in our practice set, number 4. Contemporary scientists are using an old planetary label in a new way. Okay, so we're trying to find some place in the passage where scientists are somehow taking an old term, an old label or name, and using it in some way that's different than they used to use it in the past. Okay, so these also need to be scientists. Be careful of that we're not looking for some other group of people who use the word. All right, well, we get the information, pretty straightforward answer here from paragraph F. Okay, specifically this part in blue, where it says, actually we can start up at the top just a little before the blue section there. It says, today the astronomical community, okay, astronomical community are the scientists who study astronomy. Okay, so now we know we're in the right community here. The astronomical community is largely in agreement that Planet X, as it was originally conceived, does not exist. Okay, so Planet X, that theoretical planet, is not something that really exists. But Planet X as a concept, okay, has been revived by a number of astronomers to explain other anomalies used in the outer solar system. There we have it. This term, this label, okay, this concept, Planet X, is something that scientists have revived, and they're using it in a new way. So that's where we get the paraphrased information. It comes from this part of paragraph F. All right, so to review, with these questions, these matching information questions, your job is to find details within these paragraphs. Remember that the answers don't necessarily come in order. The answers are going to be letters, so be careful that you're answering the right way on your answer sheet. Sometimes you can use a letter more than once because the information comes from the same paragraph in a passage. Okay, and those are our reminders here down at the bottom that some topics may be discussed in multiple paragraphs. Some paragraphs may contain multiple correct answers, and some paragraphs may not contain any answer. Just keep that in mind as you're answering these prompts. Okay, so that's hopefully going to help you to answer these matching information questions when you see them on the test.